March is National Nutrition Month, and this year's theme is Beyond the Table. It really focuses on how food choices affect long and short-term health. It also shines a light on the importance of making those good food choices. I know it can be hard. Joining us this morning is Adhika Chindu. She's a certified integrative nutritionist and an author. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
And you look beautiful in your pink
dress.
Thank you. Midday. Okay, Agatha, listen, studies show 7 out of the top 10 leading causes of death here in the U.S. reported by the CDC are really because of diet and lifestyle choices. What's one step that we can improve our health?
I think the biggest thing would be we can all use a little bit more fiber. If you think about the fact that over 70% of our immune system is in our gut, and the gut thrives on fiber, we don't eat enough fiber. So eat more whole foods.
When you talk about fiber, what are like 3 things full of fiber?
I would say grains, like any whole grains.
Whole grains,
legumes.
greens.
But something we don't even think about, blueberries. A lot of the berries are rich in fiber.
Well, I must have forgot about that. Okay, let's talk about being on a budget, right? Because that can be hard. Some of the good foods, they're really expensive. What's the constraint there, and how do we overcome that when you're on a tight budget?
I think the key, because I am that mom who, with 2 jobs, just trying to figure out how to eat healthy, it's planning. When you plan, you are able to eat better. But also, I remember there was one time a friend of mine was like, are you guys vegan? I'm like, no, we're not. But when the budget is tight, the first thing I would take off my budget would be meat and replace it with more beans. You know, you do some lentils, they are high in protein, some tofu, all the things that, vegetables that are cheap, but rich in protein, not as expensive as meat.
Which will actually give you better nutrition, better outcome in your health as well.
Yes, it does.
Good to know. And it's so hard. You always think you need a piece of chicken or a piece of steak to really make your meal a meal, but you don't.
No, you really don't. And for people, for when you have to eat it, it doesn't have to be as much. I remember as a kid growing up, we literally would have a chicken for the entire family, like 3 times, because it wasn't the main dish. It was a side. Like you would add chicken to your stew and your vegetable and your rice.
Man, it's time to reconsider some things, right? What about time factor? I feel like that's a big thing for families right now, especially working families that have little ones. How do we cook those nutritious meals and then still have our busy schedules? What's your advice there?
I think that's the most biggest and important part of this all, like time, which I cover in my new cookbook, Bountiful Cooking, because when we're able to plan, like really sit, write out what you're going to eat for the entire week. That's why I say start. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. When you plan it out, it's a lot easier rather than rushing after work to figure out what you're going to eat.
And that's one of my struggles.
Yes, time is a big factor for all of us.
It really is.
Yes.
So planning can go a long way. Now we're hearing a lot lately about those ultra-processed foods. How and why is that not healthy for us? And what should we be staying away from right now?
I think just tying this back to the CDC report about fiber, that's why people are so sick, because we're eating food that's been stripped of fiber. So if you can try to cook a little bit more at home, I know it sounds so like, but again, we have resources, you get it from my blog, that can really help you look at what can I be doing at home that doesn't take so much of my time, even for breakfast. So rather than doing the cereals all the time, you can make your own granola at home. So it's more rich and it's full of fiber. But when food is stripped of the nutrients that you need to strive, it encourages a lot of diseases.
Gosh, oh my God. Full of information right here. Thank you so much for joining us here on Midday. And also, I think there's a lot of golden nuggets in your book, Bountiful Cooking. Beautiful cover there as well.
There is. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Of course. All right, let's talk web.